kicking off the Business Maximiser, which is we're talking about the growth plan reimagined. So the growth plan is a tool that we use at the Growth Hub, sort of to keep track of where businesses are at, our clients are at. So whenever anyone comes into the Growth Hub, we basically do what we call the growth plan. And this might be something that they, most clients sort of go, oh, I'm not really sure what this is about, because, I came here and I wanted to talk about VAs, or I wanted to talk about our systems and processes. And the truth is, when we, I love that you've got a Growth Monster shirt. You've got this all sorted, my friend. You've got the memo. Excellent. I like it already. I was going to say I thought my mouse pad had growth on it, but it doesn't. So what we know at the Growth Hub, we're basically a virtual operations hub. And what that means is that we want to look at your business holistically. And we look at that from a few main areas, which we'll go through, and that we call the growth model. And you'll probably notice that I'll say the word growth quite a bit in this session. So if, for every $1 that I say it, and that goes into my little money jar, I reckon we'll be fairly rich by the end of it. But really, it is, our whole goal is to be able to help you build and grow and scale the type of business that you want, whether it's, you want to be a fairly small boutique type business to ones that are quite large. We've got clients who have, 50 team members and more in their business, and others which are quite large with manufacturing as well. So, the growth model comes in at different areas, but realistically, and I'll walk you through what that is, it's something that you loop back again and again and again as your business evolves and as it grows. So I'm going to do a bit of show and tell, but before I do that, I am going to introduce everyone to Bruce. Hello, Bruce. Where are you?
Good.
Come on down. Bruce Manafield is in the house.
I am. Hang on. Yep, I'm just getting the technology, and there's something's just started in the background, so I'll work that out in a second. But in the meantime, I'm all good. Yeah, hi, everybody. My name's Bruce, and I'm basically here to assist in the development of understanding around strategy implementation, and to support the grow with the flow process in terms of for looking at businesses and understanding how to systemize. So I'm really excited to be part of the Growth Hub team, and I'm really looking forward to helping clients get a better understanding of how to improve their operations.
Awesome. Thank you, Bruce. So Bruce is one of our systems specialists. He has a very, very illustrious background in terms of strategy, obviously coaching, and he's been in many managerial and executive positions in different sizes of businesses, and that's why his knowledge as part of our strategic, guidance and coaching is so important when we talk to our clients. So let's dive into the growth plan. I do have a little bit of a slide here just to be able to guide us through what to expect. So let's come on down here. I've created a new company called Star Proprietary Limited. So very fancy and very imaginative. And effectively what we go through with our clients is we have a look at where they are on what we call the growth pyramid. And the growth pyramid effectively, it gives us some sort of an idea of what are the key things that a business needs to be able to work on when they start. And admittedly, this was one thing that I've really struggled with because, when you're out there and you're starting business, often you think, okay, I'm going to register my business. I'm going to start a website, and then what's next? And then then you get all this advertising, Facebook ads on. It might be marketing. It might be get better at your sales. Make sure that you've got your processes in place, and then make sure you're hiring the right people. And you're like, I don't know what to do first. And so that was the reason, and it was more for my purpose. And then I realized other people were in the same position. It was so overwhelming to be able to go, what do I have to focus on first? And that is what the growth plan purposes is to be able to go, well, what do I need to focus on in my business at this stage over at least the next 3 months, the next 90 days. Right? But when you're starting out, you're at the survival mode. When it's experimental, you're a new business, you just started up, really, you sort of think you know what your business is going to run like and how it's going to happen, but really you don't. So you're out there experimenting, you're seeing what sticks, and you're trying to get any client, so really just attracting any sort of client. You don't really have a process in place. And that's why in that survival mode, it's just around getting yourself out there. It's creating that awareness. It's building that sort of that sales and marketing machine to be able to, let's bring on a few people into our ecosystem, run them through what we feel is, how we want to be able to take through the client journey. And then you start to create some sort of momentum around there. But once you get to that point when you're over the experimental stage, it's that next part where you're starting to earn some level of income, you're getting some level of stability, and it's really where you're starting to embed how you're doing things. More often than not, if you have absolute clarity on how you're meant to do things, then start to process out your work, create your SOPs. This is where we talk about making sure that you're optimizing your internal systems and processes with the intention that at some point you're going to bring on team. Because you need for businesses to grow, and for you to build a business that allows you the type of lifestyle, you've got to build some sort of team. Right? So we look at teams, we look at delegating low value tasks, we look at automation, so that stability stage, you then start to balance to go, all right, well, do I need to start to open up the floodgates for marketing, or actually do I need to start looking at embedding a bit of my operations and my processes so that I can open up more capacity? When that wheel is starting to generate some momentum again doesn't mean that you don't keep working on the sales and marketing. That's a constant. It's about looking for the right team members to start to replace the things that you do, even start to replace yourself. And that success stage is when you start looking at bringing on people like operations managers and so on. And then the scale aspect is right at the top when it's like, well, what do I do with the business when I've been able to step away from the day-to-day? I'm a business operator. And how do I start to really scale the business? Do I exit it? Do I start to look at selling the business, even franchise models and so on? And so the considerations in that regard are going to be a little bit different. So what we do with our clients is we understand where they are at this point of time in their journey, and then be able to sort of say, okay, where do you actually ultimately want to be for your next level? What does the next level look like for you? Generally, it's the next level on the pyramid. So, but we sort of know the type of things that we need to focus on. Then we go to the next part of then really going, all right, well, let's just have a clear understanding of the status quo. The status quo, typically, revenue is a part of it. All these are measures or metrics, that's the word, metrics, that can be customized towards for that particular client. And you can see here, we talk about revenue, deals per month. Sometimes people want to do deals, sometimes people want to do projects. Often people also want to focus on profitability. So we put in what these values are in this table. There are a lot of people that are working incredible hours, and we want to be able to say, well, do you want to keep that pace for the next 12 months? What's the role that you play? Are you the CEO, Chief Everything Officer now, or are you the actual CEO where you're overseeing the vision and the strategy? Are you getting in the family time and your time? And what's the ultimate impact that you want to have? Like, for a lot of people, they may say, I want to be able to do more charity work, or I want to be able to sponsor a particular cause, or whatever that might be. And they can't do that right now because financially they don't have that capacity, or time-wise they don't have capacity. So we look at where they are now, and again, we can change all these to what suits that particular business, and then be able to nut out where they want to be in the next 12 months. So, for example, if someone says, I'm earning, 500,000 at the moment in the business, and I want to double that. So that's 1 million. That's not a month. That's going to be a year. All right, let's just say. And that's 500,000 a year. And that goes, well, number of deals a month, maybe possibly their average deal might be, let's say it's 5K per deal at the moment. And they're sort of doing, oh no, I've realized I have to do maths now. Let's say they're doing 5,000 a deal, and they're doing five. Bruce, I might need your maths brain to jump in here. What equates to 500,000? Yeah, I shouldn't have done that bit without doing the calculations. But let's say it's 5K per deal, and we want to be able to get to 1 million. 500,000. Let's just get my calculator out, shall we? Alrighty. 500,000. We've got 10. 5,000. We've got 100 divided by 12. So let's say we've approximately 8. So that means that we need to double that. So let's say it's about 16 approximately, right? So we need to get 8 more deals. So a lot of people don't realize that what they actually need to target or what they're working towards, they just think they need more business, but they don't really realize that there's a number that they can work. More often than not, there's a number that they can work towards, which doesn't necessarily mean they need to bust their guts, right? To double the capacity, what does that mean? And so this is why this process is really, really, really interesting. The work hours, someone might be working 50 hours. They want to be able to work maybe 30 hours. The role that you play, you're doing everything. You want to be able to be oversee a team, be the strategist. Family time, probably not getting much family time, might be 5 hours a week on the weekends. And depending, you might want to have 20 hours a week. For example, your time, no time, and here might be 2 hours a day. And the impact, none at the moment. It might be contribute 10% of profits to charity, for example, right? And so we all talk about goal setting. We've got something here that we can work towards, but it's not just the business owner. We're looking at things from a holistic point of view, from a TGH point of view, to go, all right, what are the areas that we can help this business owner to be able to start to create and make this a reality? And this is where we come to what we call the growth model. So you see the 3 circles, and in the middle, there's surprise, surprise, growth. So we look at strategy, we look at systems, and we look at talent / superstars. So strategy, system, superstars / talent. And when we start to look at where the business is at, and through the conversations, we start to really understand where the key constraint is at the moment. And there's always going to be a key constraint. Yes, people are going to be like, I need more business. I can always do it more business, but my team just can't handle any of the capacity at the moment. So at this point, and if that's the key constraint, is that I'd like to have more business, but I'm just totally overworked, then you really have a capacity issue. And when you've got a capacity issue, the first thing we look at is your systems and processes, because there are often things from either automation perspective, a process perspective, that can be improved and optimized for you to do less and produce more. And that's why we start to look at, all right, well, let's get things off your head to begin with, your processes. Like, how do you do things? And 8 out of 10 times, business owners, if they're still stuck in the business, how they do things is still in their head. And that's where you need to be able to extract that and take that out, document how you do things. Because until you document how you're doing things, your team's not going to know how to do how you do things. Right? So you might be trained in a particular area. However, how your business executes that particular task may be different. So to be able to help with things like onboarding and training, documenting your processes is incredibly important. So that's sort of one step. Document your processes, create your SOPs. The second step is then looking at them or having someone else look at it to be able to identify whether there are specific tools that are going to help you implement those processes more in a more efficient way and create more automations. And so you might look at creating a CRM. We've got lots of clients who start off with spreadsheets. That's totally fine, but that's only going to last a while until you have a pretty healthy spreadsheet and all sorts of information, and you're not keeping track of where your leads are. So we might look at your processes, and quite a few of those processes get automated instead of manually done, automate in a CRM. And then the next part might be looking at, do we then put the rest of how are you keeping track of your deliverables and your projects and all that? Do you need to look at creating, implementing a project or a task management tool, right? So then it starts to take a lot of that manual work into some sort of technology, which we then start to look at what are the leftover bits that can be automated, and that's an example, a good example of automation in your business could be in something administrative. So I'll give you an example of what we do. So when a new client comes on board, they've got to fill out a form, and once that form's completed and the client presses the submit button, it triggers a few automations, which one, it sends an announcement to the team through our Slack channel. It'll also create a client folder in our client portal, but it'll also create a new client folder in our Google Drive as well. So all these, these are just 3 examples of three automations that are done at the click of a button, which doesn't involve one of us to touch. It's actually the client that touches the button. As long as they touch the button, it triggers the automations to be done, which were all previously manually done. So you can imagine just with those 3 things, how one, it's created more clarity in terms of communication, especially as a virtual team, or with any team really. One was the client confirmation. So all of a sudden everyone knows new clients coming on board. So they're getting all ready. So they're looking out. Secondly, it creates that new folder and a new template actually in our client portal. So that's automatically created. And so typically that would have taken maybe 5 minutes to do, but that would have taken someone, they've had to be sort of drop what they're doing, disrupt their train of thought and create that folder in the client portal, and then sort of go into Google Drive and create another thing. So even though those actions then on their own may only take a few minutes, but you've disrupted a particular train of thought, which then you're disrupting the way that they were in motion, right? So you're actually slowing it down. What if that's already happened, then all they need to do is just turn up and it's there. If the automations work, if they're all working well, then hunky-dory. If they don't, then we go back to 0 basically. But that's the idea, is to look at how much we can leverage technology to automate things, optimize the processes, insert automation, potentially put in AI as well. So we've got an AI growth partner here. Josh, hello. Yeah. Welcome. So he's got, we'll probably have to get Josh in here to talk to us about AI at some point. Leveraging AI. How can you leverage AI in terms of your summaries to clients. For example, you might have a call, and a post-sales call. You can leverage AI to provide a summary to your client. And once you've done that, then you sort of go, well, all right, I'm going to sit back as the business owner to go, oh my goodness, how much has this allowed my additional capacity operationally? Can I bring on more clients now? Or actually, do I still need to look at my team? Who are the superstars that I need to bring into the team? So we've looked at strategy, the systems here. So we've implemented, it's an 80-20 rule. It's not about getting it perfect, it's getting something in. Because you need the systems in place for people to implement. Hence this overlap here, right? So people need clarity to be able to create confidence in what they're doing. So when you bring on your talent, if you've got good systems in place, they're going to be able to implement a lot quicker, a lot more quickly, and a lot less asking you 5 million questions. So that's when we start to look at, all right, who do you need to bring into your team of superstars? Is it someone that needs to be local, like on the ground? When I say local, they can still be virtual, or is it fine that it's work that can be done offshore and virtually? So we have those sorts of conversations, and again, it's around real clarity in their roles, responsibilities, and the types of tasks that they're doing. When you've looked after your operational foundation, which is your systems and your people, right, that's when you can start to then go loop back to your strategy around, right, how do I now open up my marketing floodgates, or open up the tap, switch open the tap to bring on more people, so I can understand, like, if my team and what I put in place is robust to handle the amount of scale and growth. And so we look at the marketing strategy and we keep looping around. This is where Bruce comes in, and myself as well, in terms of some of the strategic sessions that we have with clients. We sit down and really understand, well, what's your marketing strategy? What's your long-term growth strategy? And what, do you have a pricing strategy? So there's a lot of elements that come under strategy, but more often than not, it's getting those foundational aspects of your systems and your team in place. And then you can really focus on this part of that growth, because it frees up your capacity as the business owner. You're not doing it all. If we look back here, you want to not be doing everything. You want to oversee a team. So to be able to oversee a team, you need to have your processes in place. You need to have a team in place, right? So that's how we utilize the growth model every quarter, just looping back to go, hey, what do we have in place? 80-20 rule. Does it give us the opportunity to move on to the next step and the next step, and we keep looping around? And this is where we then go to team structure, because building a team has a level of strategy that's involved in that. So we understand it's a bit of a stage, stepped and stage process. Often it's around freeing up the CEO at the very, very beginning. Without a doubt, I will swear by having an EA. Like, without my EA in my life, I will just huddle up in a corner and probably cry and disappear. Well, first of all, I won't end up at any of my meetings because I will have no idea what's happening. And so I recommend, if you are a CEO and you're a busy CEO and you've got capacity, bring on someone who is your EA, your executive assistant, or a VA, to be able to help you with managing, like, your inbox, your calendars, your day-to-day, and all the other overflow. But make sure you have some level of guidance and SOPs in place so that they know how to best help you, or at least work together to get that set in place to begin with. So I'd say in 12 months' time, if you're at the point where you're just building up your business and you're looking to build a team, get some VAs to be able to start off with more of that routine back-end operational work, right? And then start to look at, all right, what are the higher valued roles that you want to bring on that your virtual team, the virtual talent can support? Because ultimately your high value and high cost, high value and high cost team members, they're generally going to cost you a little bit more, right? But they're also going to be often higher profit margin as well. So if you can support them to do more of that and focus more on that, have your internal operations team to be able to allow them, like, take the load off your high ticket team members, take that load off so that they can continue to focus on high value tasks. And then you might start to look at, all right, well, I'm still, at the very beginning, you might be managing a few people. And that might be your VAs and your team members, and you're like, goodness, I was busy doing the work at one point, and now I'm managing people, and people management is not everyone's cup of tea. You might look at bringing on someone in operations, and when we talk about operations, I might just get Bruce to come on board to have a bit of a chat about how not all businesses can afford a full-time operations manager, but we will be rolling out what we call our virtual ops manager, where you can bring someone on a sort of a part-time basis. So Bruce, what I might just do is to hand it over to you for a quick moment. If you could give us a little bit of an overview of what a virtual operations manager might be able to help with.
100%. Okay, so there's a couple of different things that drive success within the virtual operations manager role. The key thing is that having done the growth plan, having clarified the strategy, one of the challenges that most businesses face is the idea of then moving into an implementation phase, and also deciding on things to focus on. The idea of the virtual operations manager is to work with the business owner and the leaders to ensure that those things that drive the business towards strategic success, those things that were identified in the strategy, are maintained. So it's a higher level way of thinking about making sure that the business stays on track. And the VOM, as we like to nickname it, the VOM, Virtual Operations Manager, part of their role is to build the bridge between the strategy, the measures and the reporting, and interactions with those in the team who are working on activities that build the business. You've all heard of the expression working on your business. So depending on the nature of your organization, now if you're a single person, you have all of those hats in the org chart, right? You are all of those roles. But if you have people who are working for you, this role helps those people say and stay on track, so that we can say, well, okay, you're working on that. How are we measuring it? What can we do to smooth out processes, smooth out interactions between team members? And that's, to me, that's the key thing that produces value from this role. That's the short version. I could talk about that for about an hour, Cheryl, but I think that's probably what you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, it's understanding that systems and your business, and as your team evolves, everything's going to evolve and change and needs to be tweaked along the way. And that's where, having a virtual ops manager, having that level of insight and being able to pull all those aspects, like Bruce has said, from a strategic point of view and an execution, more importantly, an execution point of view, because a lot of CEOs are visionaries. And I describe this to my team, where they're able to describe this and be able to say, here's the rainbow, and the rest of the team goes, what do we do with the rainbow? And so you need a bomb to be able to go, all right, here's the rainbow, this is the size, these are the colors, this is the thickness of each color, and that's the execution part, so that the CEO can actually see that rainbow come together and reach the pot of gold. So, where we've seen where over the last few years, and we've just celebrated our 5th anniversary, so it's been a big milestone. It's great that you've got virtual talent, virtual assistants in your team. We've got to put in the processes so that there's clarity. And then the next part is having sort of a VOM that brings it all together, and to help keep track of where things are at from a business perspective, and ensure that projects and identify where those loose bits and where the optimizations can continue to happen. That's the value of the VOM there. So that's, team structure and having some sort of plan in place as the growth plan is really important, again, so that we can touch base every 3 months. It can be 3 months, 6 months, so we can really see how we're moving towards the business's goals, and we keep looping back. Hey, where are we at? Where are we at with the number of deals? Why aren't we, keep on querying where's the next constraint that we need to work on. And effectively, that's where we keep looping back. Again, it's a cyclical process, and it's something that's worked really well for us as a business and for our clients. More importantly, I've seen how the growth plan has allowed people to also probably even pull back a bit. Like I said, a lot of business owners just go hard on the hustle and don't realize and almost lose track of the type of business that they're looking to grow. And when I say that, a lot of businesses just want to have the flexibility of growing a team, having the ability to take some holidays, travel with their families, and realize, hey, I don't need to hustle in crazy hours to do that. I just need to have the right structure in place, and that's what we're able to help with at the Growth Hub. So I'm going to sort of end up at that point. Obviously, we've got some things about AI, but I'd love to be able to get Josh's input on that in some other session. But does anyone have any questions? Josh, you might be the only one with any questions at this stage, because Bruce would be cheating.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, Cheryl. I think it was very clear and showed a very holistic observation of a business and how a leader in a business can achieve their goals step by step and not be overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, and that's
a good summary. Yeah,
that's what we're looking to achieve there. So this is what we'll be going through in your growth plans. It's so important that we have these check-ins so that we can help keep track of where everyone is at, and we understand where we need to come in and help out, and what levers to pull and what buttons to push, right? Because it's so easy as a business owner to just get overwhelmed by all the stuff that needs to be done. So yeah, thanks so much. That's the wrap up for today's Business Maximizer. I'm looking forward to checking in on a few people with their growth plans and seeing what lies ahead for the next year.